Hello and welcome to Royal Vibes. Meghan rehashes issues with difficult label, just a euphemism for the B word. The Duchess of Sussex continue to air her opinions on the labels given women in the final episode of her Spotify podcast Archetypes. So guys, before we get right into the full story, please do ensure to subscribe if you haven't. If you're just coming across the channel for the very first time, you're highly welcome. Consider liking the video and please watch right up to the very end. Meghan Markle has released the final episode of her successful Spotify podcast, Archetypes. The Duchess of Sussex has produced 12 episodes since August and has tackled important issues with the help of friends, experts, and celebrities. In the latest episode, the 41-year-old sat down with male guests to discuss how they can contribute to the collective effort to go beyond the stereotypes and labels. She turned to comedian Trevor Noah, talk show host and TV producer Andy Cohen, and director, producer, and screenwriter Jude Apatow for open conversations about how they can play an impactful part in the cultural conversation, mainly through their roles in the media. During our conversation with Andy Cohen, Meghan brought up a label that has plagued her for years. I was doing an episode purely about the B word, the Duchess explained, but most of the women that I spoke to had very little issues with the B word or with the word because it's so oversaturated that it's almost diffused. She continued by saying, and instead they were saying that it's charged for them to how it's how easily women are now being called difficult, and it's really just a euphemism for the same thing, but it has more of a dig to it. Duchess Difficult was a nickname given to the royals soon after her wedding to Prince Harry. It came amid swirling rumors that the latest addition of the royal family was incredibly demanding of palace staff. Sarah H reportedly departed due to the Duchess's challenging behavior, although the accounts of some former staff have been contested by both Meghan and Harry. Meghan has previously spoken about her dislike for the term. She also revealed a hatred for the word bitch, telling some of her previous podcast guests she has a visceral reaction whenever she hears it and refusing it to use it throughout the hour-long episode. Andy, who acts as an executive producer on the Real Housewives franchise, said the use of word bitch was banned on the show, saying, "We have had a weird relationship with the B word and on Housewife, and there was a housewife that wanted to use it in a tagline. Finally, the women who ran Bravo said, we don't want the B word in the show. This is a negative." And I think what ultimately wound up happening was that the women used the B word in the same way we empower the word queer in Queer Eye on Bravo. Queer used to be a bit of a weaponized word. I think the case that was made by the woman that is a housewife was like, no, this is a positive to me. Meghan admitted that recognizing the use of some of these charged words as a positive was part of the discovery through this entire podcast. It comes after her previous criticism, for the positive reclamation of the word. In the episode dedicated to breaking down the B word, Meghan spoke to creator and writer Robin Ted, author Alison Yarrow, and zoologist Lucy Cook. Ahead of a conversation with Miss Yarrow, the Duchess said, "We have been exploring what it means for women to ask for what they need to stand in their power, and also the kinds of labels like difficult or pushy or the B word, but often follow along from that behavior. I've made it known I have a deep dislike for these labels, especially the last one." Meghan goes on to introduce Miss Yarrow to the podcast, and the pair delve into a deep discussion about the etymology of the word. The author said, etymologists believe that the word bitch came out of this Greek insult that meant women were, begging for men. That was the idea. And there was a more modern definition that was written down in the 1890s, and it was a bitch was an appellation that was a worse name you could call an English woman, even worse than a whore. So it was confined as this way of, degrading women by saying that they were hypersexual, but also it sort of took away this idea that they were goddesses. So it took away this divine power and replaced it with degrading sexuality. So guys, with that we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.